Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It is time, of course, for North. And we are following up on the fine Confederate State Army, as you can see. This is their encampment nearby the cornfield, so obviously they can keep their troops well fed. And the horses, obviously, complete with slices of ham, which is pretty much what that looks like. But, no, it's just a great big huge bale of straw for the horses to bed down on, which is good. You can see they're picking up their artillery, so you can see the Texans making their way out. You can see those fine fellows in with their gloves to protect them from the rigours of the artillery life. And now we can see over here, as you can see, 65 versus 75, so the Union has the advantage. Here, of course, is Colonel Kenton Harper and the 5th VA. Those fine Virginian forces looking very, very nice today. Look at this. Complete with Lieutenant Colonel Lee with his nice big red sash. Doesn't he look wonderful? So those fine fellows. And you can see now the music corps from the 6th Texans. And there is Colour Sergeant Buffo. And here is the 6th Texans. Fine fighters to a man. And so, you can see the troops moving out. Now, the artillery is going to get themselves set up. Obviously moving up to a location high on the hill by this homestead. So you can see here. And getting set up. So there's Lieutenant Colonel Agovich from the 6th Texans. Who are indeed. Now, obviously, what gets done here is the defences set up by Corporal Winters and Matthew McGurk. And here, of course, is the artillery. So you can see them, 2 cannons. About standard setup there. So looking quite good. And these guys will be firing off their artillery cannonballs very shortly. Listen to that echo. Isn't that wonderful? And so, while the fire... Oh, look at that! Cannonballs into Theodore from Private Specimen. You can see the cannonballs just bouncing onto the ground in front of the Confederate State Artillery section. And now we move over to what is the cornfield. The ambush cornfield. Whoops-a-daisy. That's what happens when you stand in front of the cannon. So this is the ambush cornfield. And this is where the 5th VA are currently set up. Including the likes of Volunteer Dillon from the 27th as well. As you can see, Sergeant Major Cedric, Colonel Dilk. And over here, the 8th VA. You see all these guys in here taking pot shots at the Union forces who are guarding across this stone bridge. Now, this stone bridge has not yet been destroyed. I don't believe it can be. I think it's indestructible. And here is Oakenshield. So the 17th Michigans, the Michigonians, are defending that area. Now, also in there with them is the 7th Connecticut. Now, the advantage of that is that both those teams can work together, try and hold them back from this particular section, and then go on from there. So, you can see now that some of those guys have now moved away. You do still have fine defenders from Indiana in there, including Private Will, who seems to be being molested by Bush, and Dirk Bowers and Gamo Pan taking fire or taking shots with those lovely accurate rifles of theirs. So, dear, that was a bit unfortunate. Slippery there, not being as slippery as he would have liked, and managing to take a bullet. So over here, oh, OMG potatoes, taken down by Seawolf from the 4th US Artillery. So we're now looking at 2nd Connecticut. There's Colonel Reeves, and this is the 17th Michigan section. Who is that? Major English from the Wolf Brigade. So poor old OMG potatoes is no more. And here, of course, Colonel Arcturus from the 17th Michigan, leading his men over to this central bridge. So here's the central wooden bridge. as you can see, explosive boxes can be placed on it and it can be destroyed. Now, over at the other large stone bridge, this is an area where you can actually put boxes in the middle and you can actually blow up this bridge. Oh, nice shot from Thunder into Recruit Leonidas, and Mr. Noonan gets taken down by a Canadian. Oh, will the shame and opprobrium never end? Probably not. So this is the main area here. So this tends to be a huge battlefield area. Now, I'm noticing something significantly different. This appears to have been a new map, because there used to be loads of buildings here, and now there ain't. Now, all there is this. I guess it was too easy to hold up in those particular areas. So, in here, of course, is the fine fellows from the 32nd Massachusetts. As you can see, these guys defending, taking pot shots at the enemy. And there is their commanding officer, Major General Lance, in there with a fine feather in his hat. So, oh, look at that. A little bit of stabby goodness going on. Let's see if we can find out where that's going on. You can see here the Confederate State, here we go, Confederate State Cavalry riding past the butchering that has occurred. Poor old private bastard from the 13th or 17th Michigan. Unfortunately for him, taken down. So that was a rather aggressive push there. You can see cannonballs coming over from one side. Look at that. These cannonballs bouncing over. And now you can see the Confederate State forces moving up. Now working together with the 5th or the 8th VA. So you can see now the Virginians moving out, as now the Massachusetts regiments spread out around the woods. Poor old Alaric and Skent taken down very quickly. And now you can see Raspy also from the 25th Michigan taken down as well. So now Leprechaun. There we go, the charge has been given. Lance, oh, now that's Tabington. 2nd Lieutenant Tabington charging in. As now you can see, any minute now, out comes a pistol. Out comes a 6-shooter. Oh, he didn't fire quick enough. And it's all happening as they're trying to take out this small indent bunker by the wooden bridge. Indeed. So, Onpuff taken down, Weaky Bum taken down, great name. But you can see the 32nd Massachusetts. Oh, they just took down Corporal Peppers as well. So, him and his horse have died together. And now the 32nd Massachusetts, including a nice kill by Storm into Titus. Can't beat a good team kill. So let's see, there's Alexei in there as well. Now these guys obviously have done a good job of wiping out the enemy. Now, I mean, sheer weight of numbers pretty much took it over. So what happens now is they need to rearm, get themselves ready to go, and then they'll move out from there. Probably up to one of these fences, maybe pushing a little bit closer on these guys. But they've got to be careful, because otherwise they're going to come under the fire of the artillery over here on the right. Now, over here also, with the colour holders, there's the 6th Texan, there's Lieutenant Colonel Agovich, and Buffo's in there holding this, as he calls it, obnoxiously large flag. So these guys all moving in, and there of course is William from the Musician Corps. Now they've got to be careful. Now, depending on who's looking through the spyglass, they will see empty horses. Now that's usually an indicator that there has been battle in that area, and Kenton Harper gets taken down. Oh dear, that's not good. So here is Colour Sergeant Mike. And also Private Specimen in there, looks to be guarding. And here's one of the artillery, Sander the Yasm, and Captain Pakosh. So, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now you can see. Oh! Thank you. The guys backing up. Getting out of that area because they were in danger of being outflanked. And now moving back, and I think this is the area. Yeah, this is where the late Mr. Buffo was holding his flag. As you can see, that's the Confederate state flag. Oh, look at that, being bravely picked up by Waterford, dodging all of those bullets to try and survive. Look at that. Fantastic play by Waterford to pick up the colours of the Confederate State Army. And that means now he's in a safer position. He can get over the other side of the hill. He's still within range, so he's got to be careful. And Brigadier General Shaw taking down Volunteer Dillon, and Agovich also being taken down as well. So you can see Major General Lance riding or driving, leading his troops forward from the front. So this is a good thing to see. Leading the 32nd Massachusetts towards the Confederate state lines, 18 of which remain. So 2-1 advantage. And Brigadier General Shaw not happy that they've just shot a general. Well, you know. If you're on a horse or you got a pulse, you're a target. It's really that simple. So you can now see the VAs trying to defend this leftmost section. Oh dear. New York State Militia. Matthew McGirt catching a cannonball. And that is a defensive structure. Alright. So I think they need a few more spikes around the front, but we'll have to wait and see. So the Confederate State Army is now putting up a defense against what is the charging masses of the 32nd Massachusetts. Here they come. Charging into battle. And with Old Glory at the rear. There we go. What remains of the Confederate State Army is now backing up to the defensive area. And Johnny Reb with an absolutely awful joke. So now you can see the Confederate State Army is trying to defend. Helden taken down. Kauai also then is killed, and Jippy unfortunately gets killed as well. And now you can see this is essentially going to be the end of the Confederate State Cavalry. Artillery even. So now you can see the 32nd Massachusetts taking down pretty much anyone. There's an engineer in there with his mighty axe, trying to deal with the 32nd Massachusetts. They're going to literally take him down with sheer weight of numbers, and maybe even a team kill. We'll have to wait and see. There we go. Corporal Winters taken down from Louisiana Volunteers, and the 32nd Massachusetts have vanquished their foes, along with supporters from Indiana. So, down in the ambush cornfield, there are more troops. The 5th VA. And you can hear the bullets coming in from the Union. Still doing damage. You can hear the splats as these bullets hit bodies. Sergeant Guardsman in there as well. Also Bandy Bayou. Okay, no point. He got a shot. There's Volunteer Grant. Trying to deal with a Union trooper. Or Nikos from the 25th Michigan. Okay. So there's Paymace. He's looking for an enemy. And he finds none of them, as you can see. Mr. Stefan in there as well. Let's see if we can find... There's Private Shitlord. Turning to fire. And unfortunately unable to fire. So, running away, literally. Dropping the rifle and beginning to run. And unfortunately taken down. Oh, and a team kill to end it on. Fantastic. So we'll move on to the next round, boys and girls. And we return for the second round. Making our way through the cornfields. Let's go and see. There's Ditton. We've seen the Confederate state. Oh my goodness, what is that nose? Good God. Aha! The 32nd Massachusetts making their way out of spawn. As you can see. Almost keeping a straight line. And now you can see more Union forces making their way out. No doubt that is Arcturus at the front. Recognise the face and the mutton chops. And so he's leading out the 2nd Connecticut. Over on the left, we have the 22nd Indiana. And there, Major English from the Wolf Brigade. So that pretty much empties out the spawn area. Now, including Hargo, unfortunately, is disconnected. There is a howitzer, and of course, one of the standard artillery guns. So, let us move in and find out what the artillery team has decided to do for the Union. So, Union spawn is currently behind us, and it looks like the Union artillery is going to set up in the same location. Now, their builder of defences is of course Mr. J. Noonan, currently the managing director of Union Hot Tubs. So if you send him a PM, I'm sure he'll be able to fix you up with something. So there's Highlander. So now, as you can see, they've got a cannon. And they've got 2 cannons. They opted not to go for the howitzer on this one occasion. So you've got them aiming over to the far right-hand side. Oh, Highlander catching a cannonball from Major Reznov from the Louisiana Volunteers. Nice cannonball indeed. So they're firing over there, because that's where the enemy artillery is located. As a cannonball flies over the top of our head. So, what we'll do is we'll check the defences in the centre, and then defences on the right. Now, usually at the start, there tends to be sometimes defences here, or defences on the opposing side. Now, in this occasion, it is defences on the opposing side, and they are Confederate. It is the 5th VA and the 15th Alabama. Fine gentlemen defending that central bridge. Now, the only drawback is that if they did exactly what they did previously, the 32nd Massachusetts will be around this area, but they're not, because General Staff Meagher and the North Carolinian Cavalry is in the area anyway. So you can see a bit of fire. Oh, Specimen! Lovely shot by Specimen into multiple members of the 5th VA and the 15th Alabama. Lovely shot indeed. So now you can see the Confederate State Cavalry making their way over. You can see a few members there. Sticking the red over the top of the trench, that's not something you want to do, as this poor fellow and this poor fellow attest to. Well, they don't technically attest to it, but you know what I'm saying. Their bodies serve as an example. So, you now have, looking down at the main bridge, rather than over the other side as they were probably the last round. I'm guessing this will be maybe the 32nd Massachusetts. It's difficult to say, at this distance, but they're hiding in this cornstalk field or barley field or whatever the hell it is. Looking at them, yes indeed, it is the 32nd Massachusetts. And there's Captain Hugo, one of the officers. There'll be a commanding officer like that, checking through his binocs to find out what's going on. And then there's another officer, the Lieutenant Abington, down on the right hand side. So it looks like, let's see if the Iron Brigade are up to anything. So Corporal William, or Captain William, whoops, just got his horse stabbed in the butt. A tad unfortunate. He is now looking to try and keep the artillery protected. So and over here on the left you have Brigadier General Shaw, checking on all the forces, making sure they're all good to go. So you can see cannonballs having bounced up here as well recently. So let's check, see what's going on. You've got the defences on the small stone bridge, as you would expect for the Union side. So there's Mr. Stephen in there as well. And there's guardsmen. So unfortunately they'll be up against multiple numbers on the opposing side of the river. So there's Recruit Dagger and Kuhai and Mr. NG and Fry Guy and Colonel Phillip. So these guys taking it carefully. And you've also got this little section of 6 Texans and assaulted other people. So now it looks like the 6 Texans are now moving out, or some of them are moving out. Now whether or not that means that they're going to move up further, because we do have some puffs and smoke right up from the far right hand side here, as Fenris gets shot by Nikos. You've also got these guys. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. Merc Canadian from the 6th Texan. And you can see here, they're using their cannons to fire into the defensive forces that are defending across the bridge. So that's interesting use of the artillery, moving the artillery from its normal location in that hamlet right in the centre of the screen over to the far right hand flank of their forces. So now you can see these guys continuing to defend with the 2nd Indiana. So there's Volunteer Bruce taken down by Killer UK. And now we're working and watching 2nd Connecticut working together with the 17th Michigan to deal some damage onto the likes of Farfager from the 15th Alabama. Oh, nice stab by Farfager into Rich Suther. And another stab as well by Farfager. Not to be underestimated. This captain. Another stab. Oh, a sword slice from one of the enemy captains. Oh, and he takes out maybe one of the enemy captains. He's been sliced finally. Major English from the Wolf Brigade coming to the rescue. And a fine attack and defence going on by Farfager there. So now you can see a big clump of the 32nd Massachusetts making their way out. There's Major General Lance bringing all his lads out from behind cover. Captain Hugo making his way over to the left hand side, obviously looking in the spyglass to see if he can find out what's going on, because up on the hill Brigadier General Monroe has just been sabotaged. Corporal Peppers takes down Colonel Reeves. And now it looks like the cavalry, yep. There's the 5th VA pretty much wiping out everybody. And the cavalry from North Carolina Cavalry are looking to stay relatively dominant under the command of Colonel Jack. So Let's just wait and see what happens. Oh, Brigadier General Shaw taken down by Mr. NG from Virginia. So poor old Shaw yet again shot. Poor lad. Now you've obviously got Lieutenant Colonel Lee in there as well, doing his thing. And there's OMG Potatoes, who seems to be surviving this round. And of course, First Lieutenant Edward. So you can see additional protection. Matthew McGurk from the New York State Militia. Let's just check. Yeah. Playing for the Confederate State Forces today. So, numbers wise, 45 versus 37. So it's still all to play for. And now you can see the Union forces approaching the spawn of the Confederate States. Oh, Reznov shot in the head by recruit Jippy. Taken down as he dives for the cover of the nearby cornfield. But unfortunately was unsuccessful, dying around 20 feet away from it. However, more numbers wait in the cornfield. And it's where the 32nd Massachusetts are going to try and put more activity or more fire into there. But it looks like they've decided not to push any further because it would not be advantageous to them. They would be out in the open and their enemy would be under cover. And there's Meh, of course. There we go. There's that face again. And now we're looking at the 32nd Massachusetts coming under fire from Confederate State Forces who have marshalled the team and are now pushing against the 32nd Massachusetts on the left-hand side. So there goes these guys here from the 5th VA. You've also got Lieutenant Colonel Lee holding onto the flag, pulling his troops back a little bit of distance. These guys, Archie and Sherlock Cat there from Michigan, also now moving in. So, let's see. And there's Bill Hell from the 32nd Massachusetts. And now you can see 32nd Massachusetts charging in. Here we go. Taking on the Confederate States. There goes Matthew McGurk, the turncoat from the New York State Militia. And now you can see what remains of the 25th MA. Or 20, oh, sorry, correction, the 5th VA. Now leading behind. So they've turned to fight. Lieutenant Colonel Lee gets taken out. Haldane stabs him. And there's a what appears to be a defensive area here by the 6th Texan, Sergeant Major Joker. Musician Corps, Williams. So you can see these guys defending complete. Look, they've even got an awning on the side of their house. That's how prepared these boys are. OMG Potatoes gets sliced by My Name is Earl. And so Mr. Noonan continues digging defensive emplacements for his cannon. Those dirty rats indeed. So the 32nd Massachusetts moving forward. Now, if this is their commanding officer and he hasn't actually caught a bullet yet, I'll be very surprised. It is as well. Good heavens, what's going on with the universe? I don't think Lance has actually survived a entire round this year, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just there are some people out there who have a natural ability for catching bullets with their forehead, and this man is one of them. Let's see. So now you can see the 32nd Massachusetts spread out. Old Glory flying in the wind as they move in. And now they've obviously got to take out that artillery position, which means they're moving towards it. That's why they're keeping their spaces or their positions spread out, as you can see. So these guys slowly moving in, trying to keep their numbers spread out, because obviously the last thing you want to do is get a cannonball in the face. as that would really put a crimp in your day. So, as Papa Doobie accentuates the point by catching said cannonball in the face. So now over here, there's Major General Lance possibly retasking the troops to go after this gentleman on the other side. Let's see what's going on. There's veteran Private Angerfist from Louisiana Volunteers doing a great job of avoiding those bullets, at least up to this point, and turns and fires with his shortened carbine. So you can see him reloading. And more fire coming in from the 4th Artillery. Now these guys have got to be careful if they're going to go across the bridge. Looks like Major General Lance is sending them across there to try and possibly deal with the Confederate State Artillery. So there's Angerfist continuing to run from the 32nd Massachusetts. Turns to fire. The enemy dodge. And he continues. And so, the 32nd Massachusetts continue to pursue. As you can see, selections of them there. And let's see what's going on. Are they going to try and shoot this guy? Yeah, they probably will try and take him out. As you can see, bullet fire all over the place. Angerfist doing a great job of avoiding those bullets. A little bit of dodging left and right to try and avoid that fire. And he should get back to his loving arms of his artillery very shortly. So, the 32nd Massachusetts looks to have split their numbers, and they sent half of them up to deal with this artillery here, and the other half to deal with the artillery as Stefan gets team killed. Oh dear. So Private Alu, there we go, Angerfist taken down. So now we're looking at 66th, 25th Michigan, Cheesemaster also, and there's more members of the Union forces moving out. Agovich has been taken out. Let's see if we can find out where the others are. There's Sherlock Cat. Those who don't recognise that reference, that is in fact a Dodger Lee reference. Don't know who that is, then look it up on YouTube. Or at least I think it is anyway. I could be wrong. So, these fellows, artillerymen, looking to get involved. Sander the Asm. And now there are 7 members. Yeah, this is going to be... They're going to be in that building. Now, oh, look at this. Oh, shot in from Colonel O'Finnegan, taking down Captain Easy-E. And another shot into Sergeant Vigator. Oh, Cheesemaster takes down Finnegan. Shoots him in the chest. Let's see if we can find that. And now the 32nd Massachusetts come in as the reinforcements to assist. Let's see. 3 remaining alive. One remaining. And that is Musician Corps William. Now, what's the bet? He's in here. No, he's not. I would have thought he'd be in here playing on the... Let's see if we can find our boy. There he is. And he's been slain. So, we're on to the next round and a map change. Stay tuned, boys and girls. Ladies and gentlemen, we return after much faffing in order to balance the teams out. So, you know, these things always happen. Have to do a bit of jiggery pokery, move teams around and regiments and stuff like that. Now the thing is, one thing that happens very much in this game, not so much in Napoleonic Wars, are that the teams and the regiments are very, very, they have a lot of pride in their side. So they're proud to be the CSA, or they're proud to be the Union, and the thought of them playing the Union or the CSA, if it's not the side they normally play, is kind of slightly abhorrent to them. So, you know, sometimes that can cause problems with balance, but, you know, at the end of the day, everybody is here to have fun, play a game, and enjoy themselves. So, except for obviously D. King, who just assassinated Slippery. So, there is the 25th Michigan, along with Brigadier General Shaw, charging into the cornfields. Now, obviously, they can sit behind these defensive encampments if they so desire. They can, of course, sit behind these encampments. Now, obviously, this encampment are given a better spot because they can then retreat into the corn if they need to, or they come under fire from the opposing forces, which would be the Confederate State Army who have spawned up on the hill. So, as we fly over to one side, and there appears to be, through loads of corn, Confederate State Cavalry. So, just once I'd like to be able to have a really good free cam, like a proper camera would actually operate. So you can do some wonderful sweeping shots and charging battles. It's one thing I really want from the observer mode. So, as it is, most of what I do is manual anyway, so. Anyway. You can now see, oh, Punisher. And Alex Thankyou, unfortunately, being taken down. And, oh, look at this. Arcturus moving out with Major English and members of the Wolf Brigade and the 2nd Connecticut. Look at these fine fellows. Look at them all, and they look wonderful. Okay, maybe not him. Durank's got some kind of... It's not Daisy, is it? I'm not sure if it's a... Oh, I don't know. So, what we can do is then fly around and look for the enemy. Now, be it the Union or the Confederate State. Now, this is a barn over here that the Confederate State usually tend to hole up in. Or, at least the artillery tends to be based out of this particular area. Now, there's one of the Confederate State cavalrymen. And we are now flying round the side to find one of the artillery pieces and the 5th VA under the command of brave Kenton Harper, their colonel. And over here, of course, the Warhammer Dwarf, the Ginger Engineer himself. And now you can see these guys making use of the cover behind these fences. Now this is brave work going on here from the 8th VA. Looks to be doing a lot, and the 15th, yes it is, it's a line advance and fire. This is good drilling going on here. So they're going to be moving forward possibly. No, it looks like they decided to form a line fire and then move up to these fences, which are the defensive section. So they can stand behind there. As you can see, bodies of a few people on the other side. Mostly what appears to be Union troops. So they could be in a suitably defensive position. So they are now firing at their opposite numbers, who are hiding in the cornfields. Now, these guns can reach these ranges. They are very accurate. They are rifled, as Colonel Phillip kind of gets the point proven, by getting shot to pieces. Now, Cheesemaster has just taken him down, and now you can see this is a charge by the Confederate State troops. The 8th VA making a charge across the fields You can see Captain Corporal Mr. NG taken out, Mr. Stefan taken out, and whoops-a-daisy, Sherlock Cat has just killed Brigadier General Shaw. Whoops-a-daisy, with a fine headshot apparently. So Sherlock Cat unfortunately will be demoted to just normal Cat. So poor Sherlock Cat. And let's see. You can now see that the Union troops... Oh, as Urban Smurf gets taken down. Great name, by the way. I love that name, Urban Smurf. So now the Confederate State Forces looking for the enemy within the cornfield. And now... Oh dear, Colonel Arcturus. Oh, what's going on with the team kills today? Multiple deaths, usually commanding officers. I'm not sure if officer aiming actually counts when it comes to being shot by your own side. As there we go. Here is the 17th Michigans. They're in after the artillery. The Union artillery. Look at that, they've taken him out, and there is DJ Whiskers holding the flag. As you can see, if you'll hold it still for 1 second. There you go, the Emerald Guards from Virginia. Complete with the Irish Clover. So now Major General Lance has taken down some of the enemy. You can see here, there's Corporal Pepper's pay mace just got shot in the face. Who is that over here? That's Captain Shadow from the 19th ME. There's the remainder of the forces, the cavalry. And we are now watching the 32nd Massachusetts, including Syat, make their way out of the cornfield, possibly moving for a left flanking maneuver onto the Confederate State Forces. But they seem to be taking a somewhat backwards maneuver. So, Lance is now leading them in a very defensive position. You can see over on the left hand side the artillery. No, that would be the cavalry. Well done. Sometimes my brain works, sometimes it doesn't. It's a hit and miss affair. So, Captain Shadow, he's in there and he's leading the cavalry, hurrah, over. Now, I'm guessing that up here is a Confederate state stronghold. And that's what the 32nd Massachusetts are looking to assault. Yes, indeed. The 5th VA. OMG potatoes. Markio. Waterford. Down below, of course, Warhammer Dwarf and Kenton Harper looking to defend this along with Elite Private Shitlord. So, this is going to be interesting to see what the 32nd Massachusetts Regiment decide to do. Now, you've also got fire coming in from here. So, find out who's in this little hamlet in here. This is parking for horses. So, the cavalry have parked their horses indoors and are using this little hamlet to pour fire onto the barn where the Confederate State Army is currently holed up. Or at least part of the Confederate State Army. So here is the 32nd Massachusetts. Major General Lance checking across the field for potential enemies. The flag being kept low so as not to give away their position. Waterford from Texas, waiting for the attack he knows is coming. Sarkir, Recruit Archie, and here is the 22nd IA. Fine fellows from Indiana. Now, and Brigadier General Monroe. So these guys are all in, yep, as Confederate States. Now, you can see now this line here moving up the main road towards the 32nd Massachusetts. So, if for whatever reason those guys come out of that hut, 32nd Massachusetts could find them pincered between two forces. So, we fly up the road. And we wait. Let's see if we can find. There's the 32nd Massachusetts. Look at this. They've done a little bit of a roundabout job. So they've come round the side. Oh, here we go. It's all kicking off now. Kenton Harper taken down and the assault on the barn has begun. So now, at least these guys are in a stronger defensive position. It means that those guys coming up on the left-hand side will now have to attack from the side. And it might be easier to defend. We'll have to wait and see. But these guys have got to watch their back. Looks like somebody's seen one. We'll just have to wait and see. We're looking at Captain Shadow. The fire is continuing. And more fire coming in now. From the 2nd IA. Oh, good God, what does that face look like? So now, the Confederate State forces moving in closer to the Union forces. Building up the tension. Waiting for the moment when they're going to attack. Can they get in behind the enemy? They're moving quietly. Well, some of them are. Looking for an opportunity. Getting over the fence any second. Getting everyone reloaded. Oh dear, they don't want to fire too early. Give it away. Shitlord gets taken down by Mr. Crapsley. I think it's fair to say the 5th VA are suffering a little bit. As you can see, look at this. 32nd Massachusetts have moved already into the attack onto the building. Look at this. Oh, massive attack going in. Look at this. The 32nd Massachusetts are all over that building. And then we're watching Tabington gets out the pistol. And shoots one in the chest. Shoots him again. And a final kill by Tabington. OMG Potatoes is taken out. And so, Tabington. The 32nd Massachusetts, now it's their turn. To defend. Oh, Bill Hell taken down. And in comes more 32nd Massachusetts to try and defend. As now the 5th VA and the 22nd IA turn up to the party along with the 15th Alabama. Oh, fire coming in. There we go. Stabby goodness is commencing. Oh, Glaze tried to get away. Got his leg caught on one of the edges of the fence and is no more. Now these guys can stand behind the fence, use the fence as a little bit of cover and pour fire back onto the 22nd IA. Who is the flag holder? That brave soul. DJ Whiskers for the Wolf Brigade plants down the flag and goes in for a charge. Major General Lance gets taken down by Leonidas. And now the 32nd Massachusetts have lost their leader. Let's look at numbers, 10 and 19. So the Union has the advantage at the moment. However, the Confederate State forces are pushing hard. You can see there, Colonel Jack taken down. Tabington also in there with his 6-shooter. Recruit Storm. There's Corporal Connor. Appears to be stabbing worms. As Leonidas is then taken down by Jippy. And in comes Capo. Let's see if we can find out where they are located. More fire coming in. There's Rich Suther taking pot shots at the enemy. And let's move over to the other side here to find out who these fine fellows are shooting. It is Captain Shadow, Colonel Jack, and Recruit Archie, who seems to be unable to negotiate a fence. But, you know, these things happen. You know, they don't necessarily employ officers for their smarts. So, Captain Shadow, out with a 6-shooter. The old Navy pistol, I think it might be. And so, there we go. Rich Suther taken down. Recruit Neil's also killed. So, 16. One remaining member of the Confederate State Forces. Aha! Correction. He is now no more. And we're on to the next round. The final round. And so we return, watching the 32nd Massachusetts make their way through one of the orchards. Watched under the commanding eye of 2nd Lieutenant Tabington, ensuring the boys stay in their line. Captain Hugo follows his commanding officer. No, not Captain Hugo, but this man, Major General Lance. Now, let's get an idea of what's going on. So you can now see them. They're being a little bit more aggressive, using this particular area here and this orchard to try and actually get up to that midpoint. Now I'm surprised they didn't actually push up a little bit more aggressively, but we'll have to wait and see. Misclick. Look, yeah, that's what it just makes me laugh when somebody team kills somebody else and then says, "Oh, misclick." But then, yeah, that's kind of slightly funny because it would have to sort of be a quite accurate misclick to actually kill somebody. But with the sword, less so. But with rifles, yes, more so. Come on, Puff, get over the fence. Well done. So now the 32nd Massachusetts are in the corn. And, oh, look at this. Oh, Major English taken out. Oh, look at this. This is brutal. Fire coming in onto the Confederate State Cavalry. Massive amounts of fire. Major English taken down. You can see huge amounts of fire. And the Confederate State Cavalry has been well and truly bitch-slapped. Or bullet-slapped more, I think is the case. So now you can see them still charging in there, and they're trying to do some trying to deal with the horsey issue that's occurring at the moment. Still a few random clippity-clops sneaking around the area. So you can see there, they're still sneaking around on the left side. And now, oh, there we go. That's one of the, that was Tabington barged to the floor by one of the horses. Got to be careful. There we go. Brigadier General Monroe's been taken out. And you can see now fire coming in. There we go. Yet more fire coming in. And a nice team kill into poor Sayat 9898. Now, there's FTE. As you can see, the Confederate State forces pushing down towards the 32nd Massachusetts. Oh, poor old Duranks, taken down by Major General Lance, pistoled him to death. So, 23 remaining. Farfigher from the 15th Alabama, waiting for his moment. And this man appears to have useful 1000, who appeared to be doing a small dance in the middle of everywhere. There's a good chance that he'll end up disconnecting. And so, you can see Private Bill Hell, Private Wolfus, Captain Hugo, and Major General Lance making their way through the corn. Best way to disguise the movement. Whoops-a-daisy. He's done it again! Wow. So, Captain Hugo. Let's see if we can find somebody other than the 32nd. Let's find the mighty 5th from Virginia. With, of course, their ginger Warhammer Dwarf Colour Sergeant. Doing his thing with the hammer. Bit of hammery goodness. As now, over the far side of this field. Which is where we're going now. I'm guessing that could be possibly artillery, maybe? Or maybe, no, it's the actual cavalry. So the 19th ME in as the cavalry. Colonel Jack there leading them. Dennis J.K. Captain Shadow in there. Corporal Peppers in there with their short rifles. So doing their thing. Trying to provide a little bit of suppressive cover on the left-hand flank. Now, there's a random horse who seems to be enjoying the corn. Where are the 32nds? Oh, did you see that? Oh, wow. General Staff Mihar riding right through. Oh, there we go. Oh, fantastic. Tavington taking down Mihar, killing his horse. Oh, look at that. That was a beautiful, beautiful ambush. Fantastic patience shown by the 32nd Massachusetts. He didn't hit anyone, so... And then waited in for him to notice and then come back. So... 26 versus 43. The Union has the advantage. Oh dear, that's very painful. Look at that. Horse landed on him. Oh god. It's very harsh. So. More defences. Look at this. Colonel Lee and his engineer are having problems. As you can see, one's building, one's destroying. So he's having a disagreement with his commanding officer. So there's Kenton Harper. Taking a pot shot. And you watch the fight in the background. These Confederate state armies, they have got no discipline. And Colonel Lee has just been killed. So I think the engineer is about to be summarily executed. Oh well. Oh, cannonball flying over the top of the Confederate state forces. And now the 32nd Massachusetts remain in place, waiting for the opportunity. Oh, mortars landing nearby them. The shrapnel just flying over the top of their heads. They've got to be careful. Once one of those mortars finds, or howitzers finds their range, those boys are going to be in trouble. So, everything remains quiet. Except for all the shooting, obviously. Duh. And we continue to watch. So. There's Kenton. More fire coming in. Ah, here they come. The 32nd Massachusetts are charging into the battle. There's Tabington. I'm not seeing a lance. Correction, there he is at the back. This time, as Captain Hugo is leading the charge in. There we go. Fire coming in from the 32nd Massachusetts as they move in towards this Confederate state position. There we go. Captain Hugo with a nice pistol kill. Headshot. And, oh, then stabbed by First Lieutenant Edward, who is then quickly killed by Private Leprechaun. So now you can see they have been alerted, but they've got to defend against this. And it looks like, oh, poor Alexei gets taken out there with a nice shot from Tiananmen. And now they're pushing in heavily onto this point as Farfagher looks to be taking out the artillery of the enemy. So you can see here, OMG Potatoes taken down as well. And there you go, here's the 4th Artillery, Mr. Noonan, engineer of note, commander of hot tubs. There we go, another one down. So looks like the artillery section have survived that. Let's find out how these guys are getting on. Major General Lance has taken over the Confederate state position. And now they're in a stronger position than they were. And it's just a matter of waiting to find out what's happening. There we go. And that has been it, ladies and gentlemen, for this week. Thank you for watching. And we shall see you next time for more North and South.